Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Zahid Khan and I'm the course coordinator of English 002 for Foundation Year program at Yanbu English Language Institute. Today, in this short presentation, I'm going to talk about the ILOs which we covered in the first 2 weeks. But before going towards the ILOs, I would just like to let you know what are ILOs. ILOs are intended learning outcomes. These outcomes are basically statements, and in these statements, what students are expected to be able to do at the end of engaging in a learning process. These statements represents achievement attained by the students, not topics to be covered one by one. To make this term easier for you, I would just like to say that I'm going to summarize the learning objectives or the learning goals of the first 2 weeks. Now, if you look at the first slide, okay, these are the ILOs which we covered in the first 2 weeks. If you look at these ILOs have been divided into 3 sections. The first section is General English section. The second section is Technical English. And the third section is Vocabulary and Grammar. In General English, we covered 4 skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. In Technical English, you describe a product by its definition, appearance, and use. And the last section is Vocabulary and Grammar section. In Vocabulary and Grammar section, you learn words and some grammatical structures. I'm going to explain all these ILOs one by one. The first ILO, which I'm going to summarize, is the ILO of listening. In listening, you identify main ideas in listening. Now, you have already achieved this ILO during the classroom, but I'm going to give you a few tips which can help you identify main ideas in listening. The first one is keywords. When you listen an audio track, you should listen keywords carefully because these keywords can help you identify the main ideas. The second thing is the context. The context of an audio track is also very, very important. When you listen an audio track, you should also figure out the context in which the words are used. The third tip which I'm going to tell you about is the beginning of an audio track. The beginning of an audio track is also very, very important because usually the main ideas are presented in the beginning of an audio track. And the last one is note-taking skill. In note-taking skill, you take notes while listening. Therefore, you should develop the habit of note-taking skill because note-taking skill can help you identify main ideas in listening. So this was our first learning objective. The second learning objective I'm going to talk about is the speaking learning objective. In speaking, the learning objective is draw attention to main ideas when giving a presentation. When you give a presentation, you want to help your listeners understand the main ideas. Now here the question is, how can you help your listeners understand the main ideas? The first thing that you can do is that you can repeat important words, important ideas with different words. And the second thing is that you can use signal words which can help you, which can help your listeners identify the main ideas. Now here the question is that what signal words you can use. You can use the signal words like the most important point, the key idea, to sum up, and in other words. So these 2 tips can help you, your listeners, understand the main ideas when you give a presentation. Our next learning objective, which I'm going to talk about, is the learning objective of reading skill. In reading, you identify main ideas in reading. Whenever a reading passage is given, a reading passage is always given in the form of paragraphs, and each paragraph has one main idea. Now, when you read a passage, you have to read the first 2 sentences of each paragraph carefully, because most of the time the main ideas are presented in the first 2 sentences of each paragraph. But it's not necessarily important. Sometimes main ideas are given in the middle or at the end of the paragraph. So therefore, you should read the first 2 sentences of each paragraph carefully. These 2 sentences of each paragraph can help you identify the main ideas. Our next learning objective, which I'm going to summarize, is the learning objective of writing skill. In writing, you write a descriptive paragraph using 5 senses strategy. When we talk about descriptive paragraph can be divided into 3 parts. Like, you can describe a person, you can describe a place, you can describe a product, a thing, or you can describe your personal experience. And when you describe something, you use your 5 senses. You can use your sense of sight, sense of touch, sense of taste, sense of smell. Here, as I told you, there are different kinds of descriptive paragraph. Here, if you look at this slide, I'm going to give you a few tips to write a descriptive paragraph about a place. When you write a descriptive paragraph about a place, first of all, you should write the name of the place. You should you can write about the location of the place, that where is this place located. You can also talk about the reasons, that why did you visit that place, the sites you visited, also free time activities you can write about. You can use your 5 senses, like your sense of sight, touch, taste, smell, and hearing. And you can also write about your feelings, that how did you feel, okay, when you visited that place. And the last one is recommendation. In recommendation, would you recommend that place to your friend? Would you like your friend to go there? So this is also, you can write about it. These are the few tips which can help you write a descriptive paragraph about a place. In the ILOs, the next section is about technical English. In technical English, you describe a product by its definition, appearance, and use. Now, how can you describe a product by its definition, appearance, and use? First of all, you describe a product. You define a product. You write the meaning of a product. Now, look at the examples. The Zumba vacuum cleaner is rechargeable robot that cleans floors automatically. So this is the definition of vacuum cleaner, Zumba vacuum cleaner. It's rechargeable robot and it cleans floors automatically. The next one is a teacher. How can you define a teacher? A teacher is someone who teaches. And the third definition is the internet is a system that connects PC users and websites. The next thing is appearance. When you write about a product, when you describe a product, you can also you can talk about its appearance, that how does it look like? What's the shape of that product? Is it triangular, rectangular, circular, cubic? So you can talk about its appearance when you describe a product. And the last thing is, every product has a use. For example, chisels are used for cutting out woods. Wrenches are used for loosening and tightening the nuts. And hammers are used for striking other objects. So this is the learning objective of technical English. This is the second section. The next section is vocabulary and grammar section. In vocabulary and grammar section, you are given a list of words. This is the list which you have been given. And in vocabulary, this is for general English and for technical English. In general English, you learn these words like trend, celebrity, connect, combination, purchase, recommend, researcher. In technical English, there are some technical terms that you learn. Circle, triangle, clip, instrument, junction. In vocabulary, you can be asked to use these words, to use the following words to make sentences. Therefore, you should learn how to use these words. Our next learning objective, which I'm going to talk about, is the learning objective of word families. Word families are a group of words which come from the same root. Now, if you know the meaning of a noun form of a word, you will recognize the verb form automatically. Here I have given two examples. Look at the examples. The first example is the word create. The word create is a verb. The word creation is noun. The word creative is adjective. And the word creatively is adverb. The second example is the word decide. Decide is a verb. Decision is noun. Decisive, adjective. And decisively is adverb. As I told you, word families are a group of words which come from the same root. So if you know one root, then this root will help you recognize the other form of the word. After word families, our next ILO, which I'm going to summarize, is collocations. Here the question is, what are collocations? Collocations are a group of words that are commonly used together. For example, tell a lie. We don't say speak a lie, make a mistake, make a difference, set a goal, follow a trend. What are the benefits of using collocations? Collocations can help you speak and write better. These are the benefits of collocation. So this is our learning objective, that learning about collocations. Our next learning objective, which I'm going to talk about, is the comparison between present simple and present continuous. We use simple present when we talk about habitual actions, permanent truths, when we write about descriptions, when we write about processes, then we use simple present. There are a lot of functions of simple present. Now, here in simple present, we also use frequency adverbs like always, sometimes, never, usually. I've given this, look at the example. He reads books, positive sentence, affirmative. He does not read books. Does he read books? The short answer is yes, he does. No, he doesn't. In present continuous is used when we talk about activities that are happening at the moment of speaking. It means that are happening now. But it's not necessarily important that the activities are happening now. It's now or around now. Action in progress, particular temporary situation. For example, he's reading a book. He's not reading a book. Is he reading a book? Yes, he is. No, he isn't. In present continuous, we use the words like now, at the moment, today, tonight, this week, this year. We can use these words. Our next learning objective and our last learning objective, which I'm going to summarize, is the learning objective passive voice. What is passive voice? We talk about active voice and passive voice. In active voice sentences, the subject comes first, whereas in the passive voice sentences, the object comes first. He plays football. Football is played by him. He teaches English. English is taught by him. In passive voice sentences, the focus is on the action, not the actor, not the subject who performs an action. These are the ILOs which we covered in the first 2 weeks. The total number of ILOs which we covered in the first 2 weeks are 10. And these ILOs have been divided into 3 sections: general English, technical English, and vocabulary and grammar. This is my email address. If you want to have any questions,